I know that if you're attracted to this frequency, I know that you carry a very heavy weight. You've always carried a heavy weight, most likely throughout your life. You've always been that person that was on this end or that end or does this or does that. And that's always been oh, like a thing, right? You've always been like an outcast or something of that nature. And it's because most likely you can carry and hold a lot of things. Like your waters are deep. Now, just because someone has deep waters doesn't make them good or bad. I want people to move away from those notions and just look for what you're not, when you don't have an affinity for, and what you do, what's aligned with your energy and what is not. Blessed be fellow reality creators and architects. I don't know. I said that last time. No, I do know. So this week has really just been it's been real chill. I haven't really been stressing and worrying about too much. I've been working on stuff in the background. I actively got the mic, and yeah, I mean, there's some changes going about, So it's just time for a lot more things to just happen, And I feel like a lot of the time we feel like there's obstacles in the way when there's really only one obstacle, and that is you. There's nothing else in the way. There's nothing standing in front of you and what you desire. It's only you. And when you understand that and you see that, you start to recognize the power in that. It's only me versus me. Oh, okay. You know you. You know what you like. You know what you don't like. You know what's going to happen if you do X, Y, or Z. You know what's going to happen if you don't do X, Y, or Z. Oh, why worry, or why even allow those types of thoughts to play about inside of your mind? I really, really have been practicing Tonglen meditation for a while now, but I have started to specialize the transmutation in which I'm doing. So before I go on the floor, I just find a nice, somewhat quiet spot and I just breathe. I breathe in the suffering, or I breathe in the darkness, the heaviness, negative energy. And then I exhale the solution, the lightness, the positive energy. And that goes with like pretty much everything. Like I'll be like internally, I'll inhale my worries of not closing a cell, or not doing this or not doing that, or saying this or saying that, or if someone does this or someone does that, I just exhale. It just works out. Everything just works out. Right? You have to constantly remind yourself and practice that every day. Then you'll start to see real results. Right? Atomic habits would be a good reference for what I am talking about, because in all actuality, you have to really I'm trying to see if I can fix the mic up real quick. There you go. In all actuality, like you actively doing the same thing and just allowing it to build and allowing that habit to actively create itself, that will allow you to actively change certain things about you, right? And especially if the habit is something that is eternal. It's like a mindful practice or a mindful habit, right? Like meditation. So because with meditation, all you have to do is practice a skill of sitting and of emptying. That's really the first thing you're learning in meditation, is how to empty. How do I empty myself and just be? You focus on the breath and you just fall into it. You allow yourself to just be there with the breath. Once you learn how to do that, then you can, okay, I can be there with the breath now. I can empty myself. Now, can I do it like this? Can I do it like this? Because the point of it is focusing the breath for a specific type of action. Breath is the key to the mental state in which you actively take upon in that meditative state, right? So with that being said, Totally meditation is just the mental state of ultimate transmutation. If y'all saw some of my TED Talk videos, you know what I'm saying? If y'all saw some of my TED Talk videos, I actively talk about you putting yourself in that middle state, all right? Where it happened, everything is happening, everything is not happening in that potential, in that quantum field. But if you put yourself there, because that's what this meditation is, it's really just putting yourself in the quantum state, allowing yourself to be there in the in between of everything, so that you are the medium between all of the lefts and all of the rights. 555. Because when you're in between of all of that, you are the only obstacle between it happening and it not happening. And when you put yourself in that junction of power, it's now an active part of your life. You are now, when you start doing these types of mental tasks and start doing these mindful practices on daily basis, you actively start to exude the qualities of a reality architect, because you're starting to take the actual responsibility of being the reason why this or that doesn't happen in your life, versus it allowing life to be dictated by others. The man that can is the successful man. The man that cannot is not a successful person or a man, you know? And that comes from How to Promote Yourself. That's that book I've been reading for a while now. But this is the thing, is that there's a lot of power when you're in that. So I just told you about first implications of that meditation. Just one implication, putting yourself in the active in between, or putting yourself in a quantum possibility of all. That is the first implication. Second implication is healing, right? If you're the ultimate transmitter, right? So allowing yourself to be the second implication of this is going to be healing. You can actively take in the darkness or the heaviness of something mental, physical, or spiritual, and exhale the actual healing of it. And because you are your own greatest healer, your body knows how to heal itself. You just have to make sure that whatever your body requires, because it's going to tell you, like, let's just say on a mental level, you're exhaling anxiety. You're like transmuting anxiety. We'll put it like that. You're transmuting anxiety. Your body is going to start to tell you what you should do and what you shouldn't do. Your body would be your main tether to that, because as you do this, you start to kind of be more present. Presence is a very key component in these types of practices, because if you don't allow yourself to be in that present moment and that present notion, you can't really transmute it, because you're not present with the energy. Presence is just attention. Your intention is not spread across time, it's centered on now. And that's why the now is so powerful, because you can do anything in the now if all your attention is set right here and nowhere else. So that's why mystics and stuff of that nature state that the now is so powerful, because in the sense of quantum, you are a multidimensional being, and a quantum being, if your attention is set across time if your attention is set across time, which that would be in the corresponding nature of like three-dimensionally, you thinking about the future or you thinking about the past, and humans do that all the time. We're like, oh, I fucked up fucking 20 years ago. It's like, no, you really didn't, bro. Like, or, fucking, I'm worrying about tomorrow, this is and that. It's like, you really shouldn't though. Like that's that right there. Like that is what stops you from becoming the most powerful being that you can possibly be. You worry too much about the future and you worry too much about the past. But in both junctions of that notion, you are too worried about everything that is not now. Because you spread your attention, which is your energy and your direct, like, the more intention that you have on it, the more power something has, because you're building the energy of it. Your attention is just the current of it's just the current of energy and where it's going. Attention on a piece of paper to create a book. That is all of your attention. All of your attention is set on creating this book, and your creative energy is flowing out, taking that current, going into the book or into the actual creation. So if you can utilize this for healing, you can utilize it for everything, pretty much. It's about learning how to actively take this and utilize it in a way where it's actually going to be beneficial. You have to really break down 1111. You have to really break down what the issues are. Like, if you are a person that you're like, oh, I feel like I need to transmute this. What if it's just something that you're not accepting of yourself, right? Like, you're like, I don't know. But like, let's say it's a part of you that you should just accept. And because you're not accepting, you're trying to transmute it and it just doesn't work. Of course, it's not going to work because it's not what needs to be done on that type of energy, you know? And because that's not what's needed to be done on that type of energy, it's going to be pointless. And you're going to see, like, you're going to feel and think that this type of mindful practice doesn't work. But that's not the case. The case is that you're utilizing it in the wrong way. It's very important that you have to recognize that these things require you to utilize them like actual fucking tools. People think that these mindful practices and skills don't work because of X, Y, or Z. It's like, no, because you're doing it wrong. You don't utilize a goddamn screwdriver on a drywall job. You don't use a fucking roof shovel when you're fucking laying out goddamn flooring. It just doesn't work like that. And you're saying that it doesn't work. That's like what most people are doing, utilizing the damn roof shovel on a flooring job. Like, what are you doing? You know? Is it quicker? No. Like, I bet you it's not. And because of that, you have to really actively take the time and think about, how can I utilize this properly? What is the best use case for this type of mindful skill or mindful practice, and et cetera, et cetera. You also got to look at yourself, 1313. What type of person I am, what type of energy do I hold? Certain skills don't work with certain people because their energy doesn't actively have the same affinity. Because they don't have the same affinity, it's not going to necessarily work. Understanding self and understanding the mindful tools are very important things for you to actively take in and actively utilize in your daily life, right? Because totally meditation itself isn't actively going to all the way certain things and cure certain things. It's going to, my ears ring, it's going to actively give you access to a tool that you need. We need a tool, to transmute, to take one to another, to put here to there. And a lot of time we don't have that. We go to our jobs and we come home. Sometimes it's the same energy and we don't know how to have a small reset. Just a small reset is good enough, If you can get a good 10, 20, 30 minutes of that would be phenomenal. 30 minutes of that would be great. 10 minutes is good enough. It's good enough. And that's all you need, right? Just that small reset. Because you could just do it on yourself. Like, let me just take all of my heavy energy and transmute it to positive energy, right? Or you can be like, on my mind, I'm a sinner, all the energy in my mind, I'm going to take all the negative energy and turn it into positive energy, right? You just got to make sure that when you're doing these things, you utilize them in the proper format. You don't want to utilize a meditation like that and try to manifest. You would utilize that before utilize a meditation for manifestation, because it's about the mantras and mantras that you have that are in conjunction in that empty space. The empty space is the quantum possibility. That's everything, right? That's why you work on that skill. You work on that skill of being in everything and nothing all at the same time. So 1551, that's a mirror number. You work on that skill so that you can actively do anything now with that empty but also full state. It's the importance of having a skill such as that. And then you'll develop the skill of like specialized meditation, totally meditation. So what I'm trying to get at, guys, is just this. I want y'all to take the time to actively look at these things as skill sets for different parts of yourself. You have skill sets and like carpentry, you have skill sets like cosmology, you have skill sets like that. Those are mental but also physical skill sets. Those are the corporeal skill sets. You have spiritual skill sets and then you have mental skill sets, right? And you have skill sets, you have those three types of skill sets: corporeal, spiritual, and then mental. You want to have a skill set that is ecliptic, so that 1717, so that you can actively move through these waters of life with efficiency and also longevity. Efficiency and longevity. Because I know that if you're attracted to this frequency, I know that you carry a very heavy weight. You've always carried a heavy weight, most likely throughout your life. You know, you've always been that person that was on this end or that end or does this or does that. And that's always been like a thing, right? You've always been like an outcast or something of that nature. And it's because most likely you can carry 1818, you can carry and hold a lot of things. Like your waters are deep. Now, just because someone has deep waters doesn't make them good or bad, right? I want people to move away from those notions and just look for what you're not, when you don't have an affinity for it, and what you do, what's aligned with your energy and what is not, what you feel that you truly have a connection with and what you don't. There is no such thing as good and bad. When you start thinking like that, what do I connect with, align with, and have an affinity for, that is where life gets better, because you're not waiting for a moment of judgment to occur. You're just moving through life exactly as it's intended. How do I feel towards this? What is in this now right here? That's it. Presence. That's what you need, is presence. You don't need to have another system for judging, because that's what a lot of manifestation systems are. That's what a lot of things are nowadays. It's just judgment systems for the internal workings to stop you from reaching what you want. You need freedom. You need mental liberation. You need mental liberation. That's what you need, so that you can actively take the time to be free. If you can free your mind, then you can be free. And the only way you can free your mind is you gotta lose your mind, bro. You know, the way is losing your mind. You gotta fucking step completely out of your motherfucking comfort. Like, you gotta really do some things that you normally don't ever fucking do, but that you know that you do have an affinity for, right? Like, you gotta really take that time to actively take that leap to go past that point. You know, I don't condone any of these things. However, you know, the science for these things do speak for themselves, right? I don't condone you to do this, but I would say do your research into psychedelics, into things that have neuro growth properties and neurotropic properties, right? So that, because that's the thing, is your brain is nothing but a massive forest of mycelium, all interconnected, right? Or what you would deem your neural network. The more neural networks that you have, right, the more that you can store within this database, which you call your brain. However, the more complex these neural connections are, the more complexity in which you can hold within your database. It's not simple ones and zeros now. It's properties that have 4 active expressions on it, but you, in your database, it's stored in only a single unit, like quartz or quantum computing. So it's like, that's the thing that allows you as an individual, if you allow yourself to take upon these qualities which naturally exude or naturally exude by you, right, then you can actively attain a lot more. Because when you actively allow yourself to sit in that field of quantum possibility, you can really see everything. You see all versions of yourself, right? There's a lot of meditations that I have, and I will, yeah, most likely not this video, but the next video that I post, I'll have a link to like a book that's gonna have probably like a couple different meditations and certain practices that go along with that to help y'all out. Yeah, I'll do that for y'all. And but yeah, so this right here, I would say, is the meditation for people that want to have that possibility. Like you're starting off. I would put it like that. This is the meditation for when you're actively starting off on creating something, no matter what it is. Anything. This is the first one you want to do. You want to take, because you're gonna have those doubts. Like, yeah, you're gonna have those like, oh, I'm excited about this, and that. But you're also going to have those doubts in the beginning too. And I also continuously recommend every time you have those doubts, do this meditation, totally meditation, right? And, but yeah, so like take that and actively view yourself to what you want to become, right? So basically do this. You're going to do this meditation. You're going to empty yourself. You're going to basically just put yourself in that space first. Just meditate regularly first. Then you're going to breathe in all the negative energy or all the darkness or heavy energy. You're going to exhale all of the positive solutions and everything in between. And you're going to allow yourself to just be in that cycle so that you can see exactly everything flourish, because it's going to get to a point where there is no more heaviness to transmute, because there is always, you're going to get more from a shadow than you would from light, because light is the shadow transmuted into a light. It's denser. That's why it's carried. It's so heavy because it is denser. So if you transmute darkness into light, it's going to be more light than there is darkness versus the other end. So as I was saying, you regularly meditate and you do the Tonglen meditation and you see all the possibilities, or you allow yourself to transmute all of those possibilities into active occurrences. And then you choose something, man. Choose something. Like people don't recognize that life is short, but it's not. We live now to this current date of 2026 with our current technology. We can all live up to 250 years. That is our current life expectancy, give or take. We can actively live up to 250 years. So evidently, with the way health is, we could probably all live up to 185, right? Well, our current life expectancy. That's major, right? That means like 90 is not, that's like the halfway point. Like 70 is like, you're still young, you know? But anyways, that being said, fucking stop thinking that there is all of these other things to occur. Sometimes we don't recognize what we're given. It's not the best that's going to occur. But if we're grateful for the things that which we are given, we're going to get more. But it's going to be more in a direction in which we were already being pointed in. There is no other like all of these, like, yes, you're a quantum being. You're a multidimensional being. You can exist and have anything you want and be in any life, but this life has a certain path, a certain direction at least. Everything can happen in one direction. There is infinity in north. you can you can go forever north and there can be forever things. Like if you like, let's just say you kept going north, like just kept going north, not like rotating on Earth. Like you actively, fully just went in the direction of north from your current placement of where you were. That's forever. You can go forever in that direction in the universe. You never change course. South, all the all the cardinal directions. You can forever go in that direction, but that is the direction that you're going in, right? So choose, like, and be proud of your choice. You don't really need to think more than like maybe 3 days to a week on a decision. If it's a big decision, yeah, don't paralyze yourself. Momentum is important. The universe rewards courage. So if you can choose something, be decisive about that decision and move forward with that, the universe will reward you. It will, because it's seen, okay, it's taking the blessing My extension is actively accepting what we are giving it, right? My extension in myself, which is the universe and its extension of itself, which is you, right? So I in the extension of I, right? So what I have created for myself to come back to myself, right? I am grateful for it. So because I am grateful for it, I'm going to bless myself with more because I love myself, right? Love is an important aspect because I see that I am moving authentically. And that's why this love is so deep because I radiate so authentically, like in the sense of that connection. So the more that you're in alignment, the more that you move with the affinity of what you truly are, the more you, the universe, God, creation itself, right? Your almighty version of yourself, I'll put it like that, right? That we all are connected to. That version sees that you actively are doing these things out of alignment, right? I have alignment, I have love, and I have authentic energy because it sees that it's going to reward you and because it sees that you're grateful for the reward of what you have rewarded yourself because it's not rewarding you. It's the law in which that is there that will reward you, right? It's not like God itself is rewarding you. It's the law that is present that God has created that will reward you, right? And because it's watching it, it's like, wow, that's beautiful. And it's going to have certain orchestrations, right? But I would say probably like a good majority of what is happening when it comes to these multidimensional occurrences, it's really just the law's presence. It's nothing more. It's just the extension of the hand. It's not the hand itself, right? So now you're moving in that general direction. You're decisive. You're doing these things. It's not because you've meditated. It's because you're learning that these are skills that you can utilize to actively go in that direction. 30-30. There is many paths up to the same top of a fucking mountain. It's about how do you get there. Now, I'll leave y'all with this. The recognition of self is more important than the path itself. Yes, you will discover who you are on the path, but if you recognize who you always have been, you will walk the path with grace and you'll walk the path with love. I love y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed today's video. I was kind of like going, but there is order in it. And yeah, I'll see y'all next time.